Hello, everyone. Heather Holmes here with KTV Fox 2 News in the San Francisco Bay Area. And joining me this afternoon is Danny Sauter. He is president of North Beach Neighbors. That's a community here in the Bay Area. Danny, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Heather.
Talk a little bit about how you've mobilized to try to help restaurants there in North Beach.
Yeah, it's been so exciting. We're now in our 6th week of a program that we launched called North Beach Delivers. And the idea is simple. Each week we partner with a different restaurant and we equip them with a team of volunteers. And this team of volunteers is actually going to the restaurant and making free deliveries on their behalf. So it lets the restaurants get a lot of business in one night, and it also makes sure that the restaurant can save on some of the delivery costs and delivery margins.
Tell me why this was so important to do.
Well, it's so important because small businesses and particularly restaurants are really struggling right now. And, we want to make sure that people have every chance possible to support them. So, some of our residents, some of our senior residents, they don't frankly feel comfortable going out of the house quite yet. So this is still a way that for residents, we can reach them with something as simple but needed as a meal. And then for restaurants to support them because, their revenue is down, the revenue is hurting. And even the ones that have stayed open during the entire shelter in place, many of them have done that really out of a need to serve the community, and they're not making the same amount of money that they used to.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about the response to this. What has the reaction been like?
Well, we've been really, really happy. The response has been so positive. We're in a situation now where we're selling out the orders each week well ahead of our cutoff time. And, we've had folks who have now ordered from us 5 or 6 weeks in a row, and they're making this part of their routine on Thursday nights. They're looking forward to this. So the neighborhood has been so positive. The response has been wonderful. And that's what we've come to expect. We have a really great neighborhood here in North Beach.
Yeah. How long do you anticipate continuing this program?
We want to keep it going as long as there's interest. And, again, even though that we're seeing some activity pick up out there, there are still plenty of folks who are not comfortable going out, for something like a meal. Maybe they'll take a weekly trip out to the grocery store, but still something like going out to the restaurant to do a pickup is a little bit too uncertain for them. So as long as people are ordering, as long as people are supporting restaurants, we'll continue. This unfortunately is going to be a need that'll exist for a long time.
And what are you hearing from the restaurants themselves? I mean, is this sort of highlight a week helping to keep them afloat?
It's a start, yeah. It's certainly, we understand that it's a short-term approach, but each restaurant that we work with, that particular evening, they tell us it's their busiest night since the shelter in place started. So, for each restaurant that we partner with, it makes a real impact. But beyond that, restaurants are starting to outline what they need. They need a process where they can easily return to service outside. We know that's safer. So they want to have a process where they can take over a parking space or take over a portion of the street easily, and to do that without a lot of bureaucracy and red tape. That's one thing that I'm hearing them ask for a lot.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And what about revenues? I mean, have you been tracking that? How beneficial is this actually to the restaurants?
Yeah, so 5 or 6 weeks in now, we have put together about $10,000 in incremental revenue for all the restaurants that we featured. And that's, that really helps. And that's also revenue where you're not getting delivery app or delivery company margins taken out of. So it's really needed right now. We're at the point now where we're doing 40 or 50 orders with each restaurant each week, and we're selling out early. So we're thinking about ways to expand. Maybe we have a second night, or maybe we feature 2 restaurants at once. As long as there's that interest, we want to be able to do more good with it.
Mhm. And Danny, who are these volunteers?
The volunteers are coming from all corners of the city, all corners of the neighborhood. We really started out of our neighborhood association, North Beach Neighbors, but it's now to the point where people are reaching out and they're asking to help. We've partnered with a local bike company called Bolt Bikes, and they've actually equipped us with a fleet of electronic bikes, and that really helps because some of these hills, be it Russian Hill or Telegraph Hill, they're a little hard to get up to on foot. So we're zooming up on e-bikes and we're moving a little bit quicker. And the volunteers have been wonderful. We're having 8 or 10 volunteers each week, and it means that we can get out orders really, really quickly and get everyone their dinner on time.
Yeah, I know that you are running for supervisor there in North Beach. As someone who is looking to potentially hold an office here in San Francisco, given what's going on with the pandemic, first of all, your reaction to the ongoing stay-at-home orders, which look like are going to be in place here in San Francisco for quite some time.
That's right. Yeah, and just today, the mayor released some of the new phases of reopening. So, looking at those phases, I think they make sense right now. I think we're being deliberate about this. We have fared better than some other Bay Area counties or some other regions across the country because we've been really deliberate. We've been really careful, and I think that the plan that was outlined today continues that emphasis on reopening, but reopening safely, and realizing that we are a long way from out of the woods here, so we need to do this carefully.
And Danny, though, what about those who say, I can't afford to stay at home any longer? What about the restaurant owner who says, I can't afford to keep my place closed, or I can't, afford to just only be open one night a week?
Sure, yeah, and that's why the news that came out today I think is positive, where we're doing this in phases, where we have within a few weeks we have a plan for outdoor service, and then in a month or so we have a plan for indoor service if certain guidelines are met. So I think there is help on the way. We also need to keep lobbying at a federal level to make sure that the upcoming stimuluses, the next stimuluses, are built and delivered with small business owners in mind. We saw with PPP that so many of our small businesses had difficulty accessing that because they didn't have the information or access to resources that some big companies did. So, we need to do more, absolutely.
Okay. As we wrap up here, Danny, this program, did you ever imagine that it would be quite this successful?
No, we didn't. We put this together one week. We said, let's give it a try. We had 10 or 15 people who ordered, and here we are 5 or 6 weeks later. We're now selling out. We've got a wait list of 3 or 4 weeks of restaurants that want to partner with us. So it's been overwhelmingly positive, and we're really, really lucky that the restaurants have been willing to give this a shot and that the residents have responded. They understand the moment that the restaurants are going through, and they're being generous. We've had folks that leave a tip that is as big as the order itself. So people are really, really responding to this.
All right. Danny Sauter, thanks so much. Appreciate your time, and good luck with the program.
Thank you, Heather. Appreciate it.
Thanks.